Good evening, everyone. Pixie was going to go live tonight, but has decided he doesn't feel well enough. So, as the title says, Pixie was going to go live tonight. Sorry, I forgot to mute me. I forgot to mute me channel, my thing. Hi, Kate. As I was saying, Marie, as the title suggests, it's a question and answer chat purely about baking / cooking. So it was an idea that came about during a conversation I had with somebody. I'm not going to name names, but the person knows what I'm talking about. So I hope you've got questions for me. Basically, as the title suggests, it's a question and answer chat purely about baking / cooking. Nothing else. I did a live chat earlier on, but I did suggest doing this because I've had people say to me, well, how do you do this or how do you do that? So here's your chance for you guys to ask me anything you want, as long as it's to do with baking or cooking. So we've got 4 viewers at the moment. We'll wait for a few more to come in. Right, so Jeanette, my first question is, when baking a cake and you place the mix into a tin, how do you get it back out without wrecking the cake? Well, you see there, Kate, in several of my vlogs, like when I'm doing a Victoria sponge or anything, I buy, and you can get them from B&M. You can also get them from Pound Stretcher, and they are, you know, the 7-inch tins that you put your cake in. It's a liner, so basically you don't have to line them with greaseproof paper. And at B&M they're only £1. I think there's either 20 or 25 in. It saves a hell of a lot of washing up. And I also, when I make my lemon drizzle, I've got the loaf tin sized, and they're called cake liners. Mr. P, would you be so kind as to get them out from underneath the cupboard for me? What's that? Them round cake case things and the oblong ones, and then I can show you exactly what I mean.
Round what? Cake liners?
Yeah, well, the under the cupboard. So yeah, so basically that is the easy answer to your question, Kate. I use a 7-inch cake tin, but instead of going through all, but if you can't find any of these, the easiest way to do it is baking parchment. Now you grease your pans, cut the circle out of baking parchment, and so it doesn't stick, you also can sprinkle a little bit of flour in it. Right, they are the ones I use for the Victoria sandwiches, and look, they're only £1, and you get 20 of those. So for the sake of £1, you could afford to splash out and get 2 lots. I've always got these in, and it saves putting greaseproof paper in, and I'll show you them. So basically, it's just a paper case like that, like you do your cupcakes and everything. But you just put that in your sandwich tin, put the mixture in there, and you'll find it the perfect, absolutely perfect. And I came across them, and I was having to do the baking parchment, cut, you know, measuring it out and cutting it out, and then you had to grease your pan, and then you had to put a little bit of flour in so it didn't stick. So I saw them, and I never cook a cake without using them. So Erica, yeah, and I've also got the loaf tin ones as well. You know, like when I do my 7-up pine cake or my lemon drizzle, I use them, and they're the same. They're £1. But I'm not sure whether these you get 25 or 20, same as the round ones. But I swear by them. It's a lot easier, a lot less washing up, and it's a case of when your cake's cooled down, you just take them out the case. Voila, job done. Erica says also that helps getting a cake out is using palm spray, and usually you can take a butter knife all round and then have a plate on top of it. Yeah, that is another way, Kate. You just basically run a knife round it. If you've used the baking parchment and the flour, put your hand underneath it, flip it over. If it doesn't come out that way, just run your knife around it again, and then you just get a plate, and it should tip directly onto a plate. Yeah, that is basically, I have got an oblong loaf tin. Now, I had a right job when I was doing the lemon drizzle and everything, because obviously, as you know, you have to cut that bit out, that shape out, and you have to put round the sides, and it was like, you know, a job getting it cut to the right sizes. Plus, with a lemon drizzle, you have to put the lemon drizzle over the top while it's still warm. So I was finding that once I put the lemon drizzle over the top of the cake, it was making everything stick. But with these, you just bake a lemon drizzle, put it inside the liner. Yes, you still leave it in the tin, but you can easily pour the lemon drizzle over the top, and instead of going down the sides of the tin, it goes. Same as I say, I swear by them. So my tin, the sides clip together, and then you are left with the base of the tin. But you see what it is. I know what sort of tin you're on about, Kate, and I've got one exactly the same. But you've got to make sure that the clip is fully to the side, and then the base should sit in it. But you see, them sort of tins aren't, what can I say, aren't for runny liquid, I find. I mean, I bought a loose bottom, like a deep sandwich tin, and I found, I don't know whether I just had a duff tin or not, but when I put liquid in it, it was seeping out from under the, you know, whether it wasn't seated properly or, you know, it did tend to leak out. Same as I say, I absolutely swear by these. You cannot go wrong with them. So, yeah, same as I said, for the sake of £1, I mean, greaseproof paper is dearer than that. And then you've got all the cutting out, all the, you know, like what I call fiddly bits. Hi, Mariska. We're doing a question and answer on any baking question that you guys have got for me. Kate mentioned to me earlier on about yeah, so Kate asked me earlier on about red velvet cake. Now I did print a recipe off for red velvet cake, and as you can see, it comes in a in like 3 tiers. But you see, this is where we're going back to the sort of tin that Kate's on about. You have to do it in a deep tin. You can either make 3 of the round ones and do it that way, or going back to the deep cake tin with a loose bottom, you can use one of those. But you see, they're pretty deep, so that would fit one of them sort of tins. So, and that will stop the leakage from the bottom of the tin. So basically, you make one cake, but you slice it into 3. So that's like an answer, sort of an answer to your question. Hi, Darwin. Have you got any cooking questions and answers? I've just been on about lemon drizzle, and Callum is lurking above the camera.
Hello.
Don't do that, Callum. So yeah, so if I would imagine these will fit one of those deep cake tins, and so I had the same problem. I got a deep one, but when I went to put some, I just forget what I was baking, but it was, I put the here, Callum.
I
put the mixture in it, and basically because it was a loose bottom tin, it was leaking out the bottom of it. So like such things as the red velvet cake, I would recommend that you get some of these. They're quite deep, so it might just fit your cake tin perfectly. So no, there wasn't popcorn balls, there was popcorn bars, and that was my last vlog. I mean, it's simply because I went live earlier on and I went on for 3 hours. I thought I'd do a question and answer for the ladies or gentlemen to ask me any questions about baking / cookery. Any tips I've got, any, you know, any questions. So yes, Big Red Bear, have you got a question, or has Darwin Droney got a question that they'd like to ask me? But I will admit, how would I make a wedding cake? Well, it all depends whether you want the fruit version or whether you want the sponge version.
Sponge version is better.
Because I have got baking tins in all shapes and sizes. So square, round, fruit cake, or a sponge cake. Because see, when me and Pixie got married, the bottom 2 layers were fruit, and the top layer, or was it? The top layer was fruit, and then the middle tier, I had a sponge cake, because not everybody likes fruit cake. So how would I make a wedding cake? It's basically the same. If you're making a Christmas cake, you use fruit. It's on the same thing, but using different size tins. The theme. Well, obviously, if you're making a wedding cake, there's your answer, Big Red Bear. Wedding. You know, that is a simple answer. You just asked me about wedding cake. So there you go. And I did say in the description, I want legitimate questions and answers only. Yeah, Callum.
Thank you.
Because, oh, a wedding theme. But yes, so Kate or anybody, have you got any more questions that you want to ask me? Callum, you know that piping thing on
Piping bag.
Yeah, your dad knows what I'm talking about. So I got asked a question about because one of my future vlogs Anybody can make football cake. Big Red Bear. Basically, and the cool thing about it is, if you go to Asda, you don't have to buy the ingredients for marzipan, because you can now get ready rolled marzipan, and you can also get ready rolled icing. So it's simple. You just have to make a sponge cake, put some marzipan on it, or a fruit cake, and then put ready rolled icing on it. Hi, Crimson. So going back to this, I was on about one of my vlogs. I'm going to do donuts, and somebody asked me, how do you get the jam inside the donut? Now, here's the trick. You make the donuts as normal, but once you've fried them and took them out the fryer or whatever it is you're frying them, you put them, roll them in caster sugar. And here's the trick. Before they cool down, you make a little slit in the side. I'll use the back of my hand. At the side of the donut, you just make a little slit about so big. You fill this. If I can get it on. You fill this with jam. Put it in like that. Once you fill it up with jam, put it back on. And then the trick is, with that long nozzle, you put it inside the slit that you've made with a knife and squeeze the jam inside. So there you go. But this is, I've got a normal piping bag, which is obviously like a triangle shape and a whole load of nozzles. But to actually put the jam inside the donuts, you need one of these. And it's called a syringe piping. Well, it's not a bag really, is it? But that's what you need if you're making donuts. That's how. And you can do custard inside it. You just fill that up. Just put custard in it, or you can buy custard ready made. Do the same. Just need it inside the slit, and it goes with them. They've got to be warm though. Can't wait till they've cooled down. It's got to be warm because the inside is still moist and everything. And by putting a slit in the side of the donuts and using this, it enables you. I mean, obviously you don't want to be sort of filling that to capacity and trying to squeeze all that lot in, because it just won't go. You only need a little bit inside, and then you let them cool down. And Crimson says he never knew that until I showed him how to do it. But that's something I've been meaning to do, the donuts, but I've been waiting for this to come. So there you go. What's my special dish? Now, as you know, I'm a baker, but my speciality is spaghetti bolognese. A friend who we used to live next door to taught me how to make it. So yes, that's my speciality dish. I taught Pixie how to make it. So yeah, so it's but you see, in mine, I fry the mince, and then I chopped onions, a red pepper, mushrooms. Now, after you fried the mince and left it to drain, I fry the onion, mushrooms, and the red pepper. I sprinkle a little bit of garlic on top of it, garlic granules. I use garlic granules. Fry them up, but I will admit I don't make the bolognese sauce from scratch, because I find that it's just as cheap to go out and get, like, you know, one of the jars. I find it just as cheap to buy one of those than it is to actually make it from scratch. Oh, hang on a minute, Kate. See, when you're making the likes of lasagna and you're doing the layers, how do I prevent uprising and overflowing? Well, you see there, Kate, you can't actually prevent it from happening. It's the trick is, if you're making a lasagna, not to put too much meat in between the layers. Like, obviously, you put a layer of pasta on the bottom, you put the mince or spaghetti bolognese mix. Because you see, when I make a lasagna, I make like I'm making a spaghetti bolognese. But when I do pasta, I put a layer of pasta. I put another layer of the mince mix, another layer of pasta, and some white sauce, and then you keep repeating that till you've got your dish full on, obviously. And then obviously, to top it off, once you put the last of the white sauce on top, you sprinkle it with cheese. I'll be honest with you there, Bay. That is one thing I cannot make perfectly. Yorkshire puddings. I've tried all different ways of doing it, but for some reason or other, I cannot get my Yorkshire puddings to rise. So I must admit, we buy frozen Yorkshire puddings. That is the one thing that I cannot. I can make them, but they're like as flat as a pancake, I will admit. So yes, that is. I don't know why, because as a kid, my mum used to make them, and she used to make. They used to rise massive. But I've gone to my mum's recipe, and I don't know whether it's I'm beating them too much or I'm not beating them enough. I cannot, for the life of me, get them to rise. So we buy frozen from Asda. They're £1 for 12, so you can't really beat that. So I think, well, while I'm making a mess trying to get the perfect Yorkshire pudding, why the heck will I do that when I can go to Asda and buy frozen ones? And, you know, but then again, we only have them once a week, so. Plain flour, eggs. Is it bicarbonate or is it baking powder? I can't remember what. But yeah, so as I say, I've gone to my mum's recipe. I've looked other recipes up, and I cannot, for the life of me, get them to rise. So Kate's another question says, next question, sorry, I'll have you tortured this live. See, when making a roast chicken, how do you test to see if it's safe to cut without turning into a Mr. Bean turkey head Christmas? Well, you see, the thing is, Kate, as well, do you use lard or for the fat, and do you make sure the fat is hot enough before putting in the batter? You see, my mum used to use lard, and I've tried everything. So I'm going to say I've tried using lard, I've tried using vegetable oil, I've tried using sunflower oil. I've even tried just using the spray oil. But you see, my mum always used to tell me, you put a little bit of lard in your bun trays. I'm sorry, I'm going off subject, Kate. I'll get back to you in a minute. My mum always used to say, make sure you put it in the oven and it's piping hot before you add the batter. You see, that were another thing that my mum taught me. You've got to put, you know, make sure the fat, lard or whatever you're using is very, very hot before you add the batter to it. Thank you, June. Same as I say, that is the only thing I cannot perfect is Yorkshire puddings. So Kate says, well, you see, when we have a turkey or chicken, Kate, I always wash it beforehand, obviously because of salmonella, etc. But I always cook my chicken for at least 2 hours to make sure that it is cooked thoroughly. Well, you see, their bears put ingredients up: plain flour, eggs, milk, and sunflower oil for cooking. So basically, I've done that. Yeah. Well, same as you say, June, that could be, because same as I say, I've tried making sort of like pancake consistency batter. I've sort of tried every single trick in the book, sort of a thick batter. That didn't work because then they didn't rise. Or, you know, like a slightly less thicker batter, like, you know, pancake consistency, etc. Can't say it for life on me. Hiya, Michael. But no, that is the one thing that evades me, the perfect Yorkshire pudding. And as June knows, from Yorkshire, if you're from Yorkshire, people from Yorkshire do things differently. Now, I'm from Nottinghamshire, and in our house, we had Yorkshire puddings with a Sunday dinner. Now, in Yorkshire, there's a tradition that you have a giant Yorkshire pudding as your starter. And you can put like potatoes in it, you can put meat in it. It's like a meal in itself. But in Yorkshire, that's why it's called the Yorkshire pudding, is because they have it as a starter at the beginning of the meal. So when you get to your main meal of your Sunday lunch, it's minus a Yorkshire pudding. But where I come from, in Nottinghamshire, we had as Yorkshire puddings with us dinner. Right, that's a good question, Michael. Yes, I am reading your comments, Big Red Bear, but Michael's, can you recommend a good way to roast potatoes so they are soft? Right. You cut your potatoes up as normal. And what I tend to do is I boil them, but not too much, for about 3 or 4 minutes. So they're not dropping to bits, but you've took that little bit of hardness off them. So then you take them over to your drainer, you drain the water from them, let them drain all the water off, grease a baking tray, and then sprinkle salt on them, and you will find you'll get perfect roast potatoes that way. But the trick is to boil them for about 3 or 4 minutes before you actually put them in the oven to make your roast potatoes, and a little pinch of salt. But having said that, we haven't had any salt for years, so basically I do boil them and I just put them straight on a baking tray minus the salt. But if you really want a crunchy like outer on the roast potatoes, a little pinch of salt. So yeah, Jungle saying so true. So you're welcome, Michael. Same as I say, it's a question and answer purely about baking or cooking. And if I can pass any tips on to, I mean, I'm finding things out tonight, like, what June said and what Big Red Bear said about I will give it a go to make my own Yorkshire puddings. But same as I say, I've been trying for years and I've never been able to make Yorkshire puddings. So that is the perfect roast potato, Michael. Boil them for, you know, cut them up as normal as you would when you make, you know, to do baking potatoes, but boil them for a little while. Put them on a oiled baking sheet. And same as I say, if you're not, don't use salt, then omit the salt. But you'll find that they cook a lot better if they've been boiled beforehand. What is 230? Big Red Bear, because I've got a gas oven. Yeah, I know that bit about putting it in the oven to heat up beforehand. It's just, is it because we either gas mark 1 to 7 or gas mark 1 to 6? I'm not quite sure. So, Creative Poojas channel, hi. Yeah, as the title of the thing, you know, a question and answer purely about baking and cooking. Oh, thank you very much, June. I appreciate that very much. June is going to do me a video on Yorkshire puddings.
Cool.
I'm just telling everybody that's the one thing that's evaded me. So I'm going to say I can bake any cake that's going. I'll have a go at anything. But the one thing that's sort of got away from my grasp is Yorkshire pudding. Hey, Mark, please. Oh, gas, the higher the better, yes. So has anybody else got any? Anybody else got any questions? So anybody that I would appreciate you putting the thumbs up. Pixie's here, but not.
Are you right, lass?
I got a cough sweet, it went down my throat.
Made your coffee even more, that's why they call it coffee sweets.
Sorry about that, guys. I got a cough sweet and I sort of breathed in and it went out wrong. Oh, that's made my eyes run.
Take your breath away.
Sorry about that. Same as say, I've had a tickly cough. And I thought, well, if I'm going to be talking again, I better have a cough sweet. And I sort of breathed in and it went straight down my throat. It went down the wrong way. Oh, dear.
Hi, Joe.
So that's how you prevent choking live. Don't suck a cough sweet while you're talking. Well, Kate's just said, how do you prevent?
Buy ready-made chopped ones.
Well, there's a lot of old wives' tales out there. But Big Red Bear says wear a mask. I've been told that if you soak them in water for a couple of minutes before you actually chop the onions. Now, it all depends. Pardon me. It is purely the strength of the onions that you buy. And as Pixie's just said, to prevent that, because I do have sensitive eyes, and we buy ready chopped. I mean, last time we bought some, they were 50p in Asda. So, but you can't get them any cheaper, and they ready chopped for you. So if you've got a local Asda key, I mean, I think they might have even gone down to about 20p, and they're packet like sort of that size, ready chopped onions. But I've heard a lot of different old wives' tales about it, soaking them in water before you, or actually peeling them underwater. You know, there's sort of been that many. But whichever way you look at it, it doesn't matter what you do. If you're sensitive to onions, it's going to make you cry, whether you soak them in water, peel them in water, or whatever you do. You're not going to get away from that fact. So yes. So it's entirely up to the individual. You know, same as I say, I mostly buy ready chopped onions for the sake that my eyes are sensitive anyway. So, and you know, it's just how sensitive are your eyes. Some people can sit there chopping onions till cows come home and it never affects them, but other people do. So so there you go. Beef curry. Now, there's the thing. We don't like curry. So I've never actually made it. So if anybody's got any suggestions in the chat, as you know, I can look your recipe up, Big Red Bear. But same as I say, we don't eat curry. So there's hardly any point in making a curry if we're not going to eat it. It says beef curry, how would you make one? But anyway, same as I say.
Right.
Yeah, I can look a recipe up for you. I can, you know, same as I say, beef stew or things like that. Yeah. But you know, I've got a very sensitive stomach as well. So, you know, as a rule, we don't eat curry, so I don't make it. You know, I mean, like Chris Pixie went out for his work's due at Christmas, and he was saying, oh, you know, they were going to an Indian restaurant. So he says, well, what am I, you know, what am I going to do? Because I don't like curry. I says, well, they've got English meals. I says, why don't you order something like English, or a steak or an omelette or something like that? I says, don't be forced to eat something that you don't like. So anyway, he went out on the night out, and when he came back, he had actually had chicken tikka masala, and he says he quite liked it. Now, this is the guy that said to me that he doesn't like curry. So I says to him, I says, well, you know,
because it went too hot.
And what were other thing that you had?
I don't know, but that were a bit hot.
Yeah, he did have something like one of the starters, and somebody told, yeah, somebody told him that it was like mild, or it wasn't red hot, but he says it like literally burnt the top of his mouth off.
Don't listen to him again.
So, but he did enjoy the chicken tikka masala. Yeah, what I do, Big Red Bear, when I make a stew, I've got a well, they call them crock pot in America, but I've got a slow cooker. Well, this is it. Same as I say, you know, I have had chicken korma, Now, that is more my taste. I don't like anything hot and spicy. I do like the more subtle flavours of the korma because obviously it's coconut, etc. Yeah, well, I do my stew in a slow cooker. And what I do, I get either stew meat or diced beef. And what I do, I put the diced beef in the slow cooker, put some water over it, a little bit of gravy granules, and I leave that on a high setting for about an hour to 2 hours. So then I buy leeks, parsnips, swede, potatoes, mushrooms, peas, carrots, you name it, it all goes in. So I'm going to say I let the meat cook for a little while, and basically so basically you know, it once the meat's had time to cook, everything just goes in, quick stir, and leave it for about 3 or 4 hours. And then right at the end, about 5 or 10 minutes before you're serving it, you put the dumpling, well, you make the dumplings up and you put dumplings in. Now, problem we've got there is Callum doesn't like beef stew. So basically, me and Pixie have a bowl each, and whatever's left over, I put in a container, and Pixie's taking it up, rest it next week for his lunch at work. So it does get eaten in the end. Dumplings, yeah, you know, them big things that you put in stew. Oh, June's saying she misses dumplings. For anybody that didn't know, like Kate or the Big Red Bear, June Gall is living in America. She went to live there 30 years ago, but originally June is from Leeds. So for all them that you didn't know, she's actually a Yorkshire lady, but she's been living in the States for 30 years. And Darwin says he loves dumplings. Real dumplings, not what I'm... Yes, we in the UK, June, do real dumplings. And I know what you mean by not the dumplings, sort of dumplings that the Americans have. Suet. Yeah. English dumplings are made with suet and flour. So yeah, so that's going back to the stew. You know, it takes a hell of... I have got a crock, like a normal crock pot, what you use on top of the on top of the stove, but I find it's easier to same as I say, just chuck the meat in the slow cooker for a while, a couple of hours, and then basically in the meantime I've chopped the potatoes up, I've chopped the leeks up, the swede, parsnips, potatoes, the mushrooms. I've sort of in the meantime, while I'm waiting for the meat to cook, I prepare all the vegetables ready just to put in after a couple of hours, and then I just put the lid on, stir it a little while, you know, stir it and mix it up a little while, and voila, in about 3 hours you've got stew and dumplings. Oh, thank you, Marie. And for some reason I've frozen on
Yeah.
wait, on the YouTube thing.
Oh,
Oh, well, it is on mine. I bet it's when I muted it, I bet. Yeah, it is. When because I forgot to mute it on YouTube. Irony. It's old Marie were quick off the mark there.
Not frozen. Might have to refresh whoever it is.
Yeah, it's not. I tell you what it was. What I'd done is when I first started the live stream, I forgot to mute the YouTube because I'm using Hangouts. So I had to go back to the YouTube to mute it. And obviously by muting it, I'd paused it. So it's all right. I just thought when I looked at it, I just went to look at it. I thought I'd frozen. But it wasn't. It was me when I were muting it. I'd paused it as well. It's a little bit better. I did ask him if he wanted to go live tonight, Darwin, with me going live earlier on, but then it got suggested to do a question and answer about baking. Cool. So, any questions from Nick or anybody about baking or cooking? And Darwin Droning says his favourite is stew and dumplings, followed by lemon drizzle. So there you go. Pixie absolutely loves the spaghetti bolognese because, as I say, what's for tea? We've had ours ages ago. We're talking, it's 9:15 now. So it's a bit too late for us to be having anything to eat because I don't know about you, but I get terrible indigestion if I have anything past 9 o'clock. So yeah. So I have got a few other recipes in the pipeline. Sticky toffee pudding, and that is by Mary Berry. Obviously, I'm doing the key lime pie. And that's, as I say, another one in the pipeline is donuts. I printed a recipe off for the red velvet cake. So, suet for human consumption is hard to find here. Oh, dear. Well, I tell you what, Marie. If you do a video for me about the perfect Yorkshire pudding, I might just get a package together for you and send you some over. There you go. Hiya, Mary. Richard says, spag bol not for me, end up with more on my chick. Well, you see, the trick there is, that's another trick. I don't use actual spaghetti. I use the twisty things, and then you're not slurping it and getting it all over you. That's easy to solve that one, Darwin Droning. Use the twist. Yeah, there's pasta shells or the fusilli as it's called. Use that instead of proper spaghetti. That way you don't get it all on your face. Yes, June, I said if you do the Yorkshire pudding video for me, I'll get you a package sent over and I shall send you some suet over. I'll send you, like, because they come in boxes. So basically, I'll probably send you 2 or 3 boxes, make it worth the postage and packaging. But yeah, I'll send you some over. Oh, Nick's tried to crack a joke. He says the missus text saying she was in casualty earlier. I watched all of it and I didn't see her once. She's still not home yet and I'm getting hungry. Oh, Darwin Droning's at 200. Yes, yeah, I meant June because we were talking about the perfect Yorkshire pudding earlier on. Hey, Whaley Bird. And June said she was going to do a video for me, like a tutorial on how to make the perfect Yorkshire pudding because it's evaded me. I'm nearly 56. And up till now, I have never, ever been able to get my Yorkshire puddings to rise. So I says, if June does that for me, I will personally go and get her some suet and send it over to the States so she can make dumplings or whatever she wants to make with it. Because you use suet, and I bet June knows what I'm talking about. Steak and kidney pud. Hi, Barra boy. Yeah, well, I was like, but yes, you make steak and kidney pudding with suet as well. So there you go. And probably Big Red Bear or my nan beat me with the wooden spoon if I got it wrong. Yeah, well, you see, I used to go down to my grandma's every Friday night with my dad without fail. And my grandma made the best steak and kidney. But she'd got, you know these like pudding bowls that you get. And June will probably know what I'm talking about. She used to put it in one of them, but she used to, the cloth that you put over the top of it. She used to put the cloth over the top of it and tie it with a piece of string, and probably June will know what I'm talking about. And my grandma's used to make the most delicious steak and kidney puddings I've ever tasted, and I've never tasted anything like it since. But she used to, the linen pieces of cloth over the top of the pudding after she'd made it, and tie a piece of string round it, and then she used to put like a tray on top of the oven full of water, and she used to be steaming it and boiling it for hours. Oh, steak pudding a rag here in Lancashire. Yeah, I knew June would know what I'm talking about, but that was proper steak and kidney pudding. And I mean proper steak and kidney pudding with a piece of cloth over the top, tied with a piece of string. And Big Red Boy is going to the Aunt Bessie's Yorkshire puddings. But yeah, that my grandma's steak and kidney pud was the absolute best I've ever tasted. And I'm not kidding you. Obviously, you might have probably just heard him sneeze, so we don't know whether that's hay fever or whether it's still this chest infection going on, but he's had a bit of an upset tummy today. We don't know whether it's the antibiotics, but we're going off track again here. So, any more questions? Oh, sorry, June. I'm sorry, I'm making you homesick. But yeah, if I can help in some way just by sending you some suet, I'm sure you'll find plenty of uses for it. I will only be too pleased to send it you, June. Oh, Darwin Droney says there is still a chippy here that does steak pud wrapped in a rag. And as I say, that was the way my grandma used to make it, and I still remember it to this day. And I was only about, I think, 12 or 13 when she died. So this is how long, I mean, we're talking about 40 odd years ago, and I can still remember her making it. So yes. And we were talking earlier on when June came in about when I make a Victoria sandwich, I use these, the liners, that's for a Victoria sandwich thing. And they, instead of using baking parchment, and that is for like a loaf tin. Less washing up, less mess. June says, thank you ever so much. Shh, if I was able, I would probably be home now. Oh, bless you, June. How dare you, Mr. P, floating between the football and me? Well, I'll tell you something now, June. If there's anything else on your wish list, just contact me, you know, either that or Pixie on his channel. You know, if there's anything in particular you miss, just let me know. I'll get you a package put to. So yeah, so obviously top of the list is suet. So if there's anything else, like, I don't know, Jaffa cakes or things like that, if there's anything else that you want me to put in the package, I'm only too happy to do so. So just you know, one way or the other, send me a list or anything that you want or you miss from the UK, and I won't be too pleased to send it off to you. Oh, don't get weepy, June. You know me, June. If I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. If somebody say, just tell me what you want and I'll send it to you. So, yeah, I know you've got a life in the States, but you know, you lived in this country growing up, and same as I say, you've got used to your life out in the States, but obviously there is certain aspects of your childhood and your own country that you miss. Oh, thank you, Marie. Well, same as I say, I do it for anybody, you know, anybody wants anything, or you know, same as June says, there's a lot of things in the US that you can't, you know, you can't get there what you used to from home. Hi, my blind mama's messy kitchen. Thank you for joining us. So, right, going back to the question and answers, it says I wasn't going to deviate it from the question and answer, because I did actually do a live stream earlier on, and I did go on for 3 hours. So I basically done this, you know, if anybody's got any questions or yes, he is. Well, I wish you'd do it quietly. That's all I can say. That's all I'm saying on the subject. I wish you'd do it quietly.
I'll try.
Yeah, same as I say, if I can help in any way, same as I say, I'll bring the UK to you, June. Whatever you want, you know, just write a quick list down of what you miss, or you know what I can get in the UK, and I'll send it to you. So, same as I say, it could be you're missing Jaffa cakes, or you're missing, same as you said, you can't get suet in the US. Just write a short list. Yeah, he's got a chest infection, so he is a bit poorly at the moment. Do it with suet, and it's not spelt like that. It's S-U-E-T. That's how you spell suet. And I bet June can remember the Atora suet, and that's what I can get for you if you want. Same as I say, just write a list down. You know, it might be some goodies like candy, chocolate, you know. And, you know, I think I'd be the same, you know. Can we get a good night, Kayla? What is that all about, Whaley Bird? So yes. And TCP, you mean the gargling TCP, the liquid form, or because they do it in like a cream? You mean the liquid TCP? Because a lot of people gargle with the TCP. Right, EastEnders time. I'll leave you bingo players alone. Well, that went very nice, Big Red Bear. So yes, you saying good night to little. I don't know what the heck you're on about, Whaley Bird. Oh no, I hope he feels better soon. So what is your favourite pastry? Well, I'll be quite honest with you. I like all pastries, but I like just short crust pastry, in all honesty. I love working with it. I find it easy to handle and I find it the easiest to make. Now, same as I say, it all depends on what you're making. I do like flaky pastry, but I find it easier. I find short crust pastry easier to work with. Oh, the liquid. Got you. Well, there again, same as I say. In this country, we make Cornish pasties. And when I'm talking about Cornish pasties, there's everything in them. There's carrots, there's potatoes, obviously there's meat. And basically, they originate from obviously Cornwall, and that's why they're called Cornish pasties. But it's like a meal within a pie, if you know what I mean. Probably June will know what I'm on about by Cornish pasties. But yeah, they're dead simple to make. So, can you make party mini pastry pies? What you mean, like vol au vents and things like that? Are you talking about vol au vents? Or, you know, you sort of got to, I mean, yeah, vol au vents. Well, basically, I think that is flaky pastry that you use for vol au vents, party food. Oh, Cornish pasties. Oh, I need to make some too. Well, June knows what I'm on about, going back to the Cornish pasty things, but they're like basically a meal within a pie because you put potatoes, carrots, meat and everything in it. Talking of pastries, Bristol Rovers do the best sausage rolls at home. Games well worth the money. Hi, Ghost Finest TV. Yeah, but same as I say, like you use flaky pastry for sausage rolls. It's puff pastry for vol au vents, but I find there again, if you're making vol au vents, they're that fiddly that you can get them already made. I mean, just do them already made. You just put them in the oven, you know, and pasties are the dog June great greasy. Well, I wouldn't say it all depends how you cook them, Bear. I mean, they don't have to be greasy. I mean, same as I say, when I do any mince or any meat of any kind, I always wash it, drain it, and once I've cooked it, like mince, I always drain it for at least half an hour after I've cooked it. Oh, it's all right, Kate. They are more like a pasty than the sausage roll, the size of them. Yeah, same as I say, like here in the UK, it's so much messing about making vol au vents. Basically, just roll, actually do like uncooked, obviously, but they like basically all you do is put them on a baking tray, put them in the oven, and as we say, Bob's your uncle. Going back to Big Red Bears, he says, shepherd's pie, Jeanette, are you a fan of? Now, I prefer cottage pie to shepherd's pie, because as the people in the UK know, shepherd's pie is made with lamb, but cottage pie is made with minced beef. Now, I'm not a fan of lamb because I find it to be too greasy. I mean, yes, that is another saying as well, Easy Days. I find that lamb is too greasy. So I never buy it because it gives me, I mean, not everybody's same, everybody, you know, but whoever I talk to say that they find that lamb is a bit on the greasy side. Yes, cottage pie is mince, beef, but shepherd's pie, and the clue is in the name because a shepherd looks after sheep, which is a lamb, which is what you use for a shepherd's pie. And that's why there's the difference in shepherd's pie and cottage pie. Basically, all croutons are, Kate, are bread put into cubes, and basically you can either fry them or basically cook them in the oven till they're hard. That's basically all croutons are. Big Red Bear says, favourite winter food to warm you up. Would you make homemade soup or buy it from the shops? Well, I prefer to make it myself because then you know what's actually going into it. Now, exactly, Easy Days, croutons are dried out bread. That's basically, so if you've got a slice of bread or two, you just cut the crusts off, cut it into strips, cut it into cubes. You can fry them, or you can fry them in a frying pan, you can do them in a deep fat fryer, or you can actually put them on a greased baking tray and dry them out till they're crisp in the oven. My blind mummy's messy kitchen. I didn't know that about shepherd's pie. I should probably change my shepherd pie video title to cottage pie. Yeah, well, same as I say, there's two kinds of, same as I say, shepherd's pie is made with lamb mince, but cottage pie is made with beef mince. I have a question? Can you name 1 to 5 your favourite foods and 5 being your worst food? I would say curry being the least favourite at number 5. And my number 1 would be spag bol. And same as I say, there's that many different things. What do you put in between? My favourite is spag bol, spaghetti bolognese, and my least favourite is a curry. What else can I say? I like a Sunday roast with Yorkshire puddings. I haven't actually done a vlog on it, but I like the occasional pizza. What else? I like lasagna. That's sort of my second favourite. Spaghetti bolognese, lasagna, Sunday roast. What else? And now, one of, even sort of like further down than curry, I don't like chili con carne either. I find it to be too spicy, and I don't like the big red beans that's in it. So that they are my least favourites. So there you go. There's the answer to your question. By the beef, do you mean like what we call ground beef? Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Well, with shepherd's pie or cottage pie, you can add cheese on top as well. Either of those, but the difference in shepherd's pie and cottage pie is the meat that you use. That's basically it. we call it mince, but for the shepherd's pie, obviously, shepherds look after lambs, sheep. That's why it's called shepherd's pie. So that's lamb, mince, but the other one is beef, cottage pie. I'm the opposite, Jeanette, pickering curry being my favourite and spag bol being my least favourite. Well, you see, Sam, as I say, I have to be careful, because anything too spicy, I get terrible heartburn, I get terrible indigestion. So I have to make sure that I don't eat things that are too spicy. Otherwise, I'm doubled over in agony. Very nice list, Jeanette. Much appreciate for answering my questions. May I ask what and why made you turn to cooking? Being married, basically. You see, my mum taught me how to cook. And, you know, I mean, I wanted to carry on the tradition, and Callum has, but I've got all boys. So it's very, very rare for a boy to take interest in cooking, but Callum has. That's a good comment there, Equinox. She says, did you know a curry made with red meat is hotter than one made with white due to the enzymes in the meat? You see, there again, if I have a curry, I only have a chicken korma. Now, when we're talking about Chinese, I like the noodles, and I like the beef and mushroom things. I don't like anything too spicy on the Chinese. I much prefer having a Chinese than I do an Indian, but we don't have either very often. So, well, you see, the thing is, June, I mean, same as I say, I'd got an elder brother, and then there's me, and then there's my sister. Now, my mum, my grandma on my dad's side, she, same as I say, she used to cook all sorts, and I used to sit watching her for hours cooking things. And I was saying with my mum, when my mum used to cook, I used to watch, you know, and it's basically, I suppose, it's something that you pass down to your daughters, really. But same as I was saying, I've got all boys, and the only one that's took an interest in cooking is Callum, and he absolutely loves it. And he wants to go to catering college. He wants to learn to, you know, not just the cooking side of it, the preparation, you know, everything about cookery. And I says, you know, if that's what you want to do, then go for it. You know, I won't stand in your way. If you want to do cookery, then that, you know, that's up to you. I mean, you look at Gordon Ramsay, you look at all the famous chefs, Jamie Oliver. I was shocked to find how many didn't know how to cook when I first came over. Well, you see, same as I say, in the United Kingdom, a lot of what, such as I learnt, were from my grandma and from my own mum. Have you tried a Thai green curry? If you like a korma, you will enjoy this, as it's not a hot curry, again made from coconut. No, I can't say as I have. Same as I say, we don't eat sort of have takeaways very often. I do tend to, well, Pixie cooks a lot. I bake, and you know, and there you go. That's your answer, because Pixie don't like coconut. Yeah, but I mean, same as what I think what Jude's trying to say, Marie, is, I mean, like, yeah, you're a little bit older than me, but I learnt from my mum and I learnt from my grandma. And what gets me is, in this day and age, the younger generation find it easier to go out and buy ready meals and have a takeaway than it is actually to sit down and prepare a meal. What is your... I only like a mild cheese. I don't like anything too strong. Yes, I do like Chinese food. Same as I say, I like, I tend to go for the chicken dishes, like, you know, stuff, chicken, what do you call them? Chicken balls. I like beef and mushroom, you know, but I do tend to go with the chicken. Yeah, the same as I say, you know, I mean, you know, same as I say, in this day and age, I mean, you go down to our local Asda, and we're sort of like, we've got universities in the city, and you would be surprised at the amount of the students that go to the Asda, and rather than sort of make anything from scratch, it's easier for them to go and get a ready meal or a tin of beans and do beans on, you know what I mean? It's sort of getting to that stage now where the youngsters just can't be bothered to do anything from scratch. No, Big Red Bear, no, I'm not a fan of macaroni, because you see, the thing is, Callum did a recipe with macaroni, and, you know, I find it a little bit on chewy side, macaroni. Well, basically, same as I say, when I use pasta, I normally use the twists. But same as I say, Callum did a dish at school and that used macaroni. But yeah, it were edible. Yeah, we eat it. But I find, I don't know what it is about the macaroni, whether it's because it's, you know, I must say I did prefer the smaller macaroni. But I find macaroni a little bit rubbery, a little bit chewy. Ping meals. I cook my macaroni so it's not chewy. Well, this is the thing as well, June, and this is one of the things why I've done this is, if I can pick, you know, what is the ideal length of time to cook it. Well, you see, another thing is as well, we went over to Pixie's sister's, and her speciality dish is macaroni and cheese. Now, I think it was not this Christmas, the Christmas before that. She put like a buffet on. She didn't, you know, it were, I don't know, it was Boxing Day or New Year's Eve or something like that. But she put a spread on, and it were not long after I'd had my surgery, so I were limited as to what I could eat. And basically, I don't know what she put in it. I did try a little bit of it, and it was delicious. Now, I didn't ask her how she made it, but that is the first time I've tasted it when I've actually enjoyed it. And mac and cheese, he says, yuck, sorry, don't like it. In reference to ready meals, what we call them ping meals, meaning, oh yeah, I get you now. I rinse it after cooking to remove the starch. Then I make the dish. I'll a macaroni dish too. There you go. Same as I say, Callum seems to enjoy that. But the thing is, Callum don't like cheese. It won't be mac and cheese, though. Oh, dear. But same as I say, I don't know whether it's... You see, we're picking tips up from each other, and this is what this is all about. Same as I say, June's going to do a tutorial on how to make the ideal Yorkshire pudding. Same as I say, as Pixie's just said, he don't like macaroni and cheese. But it's that I can eat like 7. Oh, Gordon Bennett. I'd be full after first half a plate full. Michelle and Christina, please behave. You tell them, Marie. But yeah, same as I say, I mean, I'm here to pass on any tips to anybody. And if anybody's got any tips, like June says, you know, how to cook the perfect macaroni, you know. I can see somebody getting something thrown at them before long. Equinox. You see, Pixie does the majority of cooking in our house. And when I mean, not the baking, but having said that, like the stew I make, like the spag bol I make, it's got to be something quick, easy and simple for Pixie. So anything a bit too complicated and he's out. Marie says, Christina, stop pulling Michelle's bow out of her hair. But yeah, same as I say, you know, and this is what the generation of today are lacking. They don't carry on the tradition of making things from scratch, making traditional dishes, you know. Nick says, and this is Equinox Photography, I was always brought up, if it had fur, feathers or swam, you could eat it. The old classic bangers and mash. Well, you see, this is the thing as well. You see, as well, when I went to school, I'll bully you in a minute, mister. When I was at school, and this is no word of a lie, and this is in England, they took us on a trip to the slaughterhouse, showed them how they slaughtered sheep, how they slaughtered pigs, how they slaughtered cows. And even at school, they told us or shown us how to humanely, without causing pain, like kill a chicken. You know, like, let's say for instance, you lived on a farm and that is the food source that you relied on. They even taught us how to humanely kill a chicken without causing it any pain or suffering. Now, that's the sort of thing that they ought to teach in the schools nowadays. You know, I mean, let's say the youngsters of today find themselves shipwrecked. They'd be looking for a tin opener, you know, not sort of, now, what do I do to survive? They'd be saying, oh, what am I going to do? I ain't got a tin opener, or I ain't got a microwave to do my microwavable meal. You know, they'd be, you know, basically, as we say, up the creek without a paddle, because they just wouldn't know how to survive without the modern amenities that we've got today. And that is my that is my perspective on things. And Richard says they would be looking for a phone charge. Well, it's true, Richard. The thing I'm saying is the youngsters have to. Okay, it. Well, I'm worried way back before this bullying thing. Kate's not even in.
Nick, I said.
Oh, Nick. Thought you said. What's the most unusual food I've eaten? I can't really say I've eaten anything unusual. Oh, I tell a lie. Going back to the olden days, and when I was coup de grace, literally a stroke of grace or blow of mercy. The most, well, I can't say as I've like actually eaten it, but going back to my childhood, I used to go to my grandma's every Friday night, every Friday evening. Mum and Dad we always used to go to my grandma's on a Friday evening. Now, she used to eat tripe. She used to eat oxtail. And I forget what else, but she used to say, "Oh, it's lovely. Try a piece," and you know, ram it in your face. How do you know you don't like it if you don't try it, sort of thing. My dad used to cook tripe exactly, Darwin. Same as I say, she used to sort of ramp fork in my face and say, "Here, try it. How do you know you don't like it if you've never tried it?" So of course, like to appease her, I used to, you know, I says, "Well, just cut me a little bit. I'll just try a little bit." And basically, as soon as it had gone in my mouth and I tried chewing it, it went, and I spit it straight out. But yeah, my grandma used to, you know, sort of eat all that stuff, tripe, oxtail, and there's something else, I forget what it were. But what I'd look at, or you perceive as, you know, something strange, but I can say I've tried tripe. I don't like it, but I've tried it. So there you go. But you know, she used to make. I tell you another. But the part about it is, it says who tried it and didn't like it. That's oh yeah.
Prawns, no way.
Cockles. Nah, you see there again. That's where me and Pixie. I love cockles. Not so sure about the mussels, but I love cockles. Now Pixie won't even entertain any seafood. I like prawns. I like shrimps. I tell you what else I've tried as well. Paella. I've had a go at that. Now there were sort of bits of that I didn't like, but I tried it. I wasn't too keen on it, but I tried it. And yeah, I'm with you there, Richard. I love prawns. I love prawn cocktails. Now, there again, Pixie won't even entertain any seafood, whatever. The only seafood he eats is he sees food and he eats it. I've had squirrel. Oh, telling a lie there. When I was a kid, I was about 13 or 14, and I went to France with the school, and I had horse meat. That's just come to me when you mentioned squirrel, kangaroo, crocodile, ostrich. But I didn't know I was eating horse meat at the time. It wasn't till afterwards, after I'd eaten it, that they told me it was horse meat. That's the thing with me as well, Richard. If it's got a face, I won't eat it. If I see a fish and they plonk it on your table, yeah, it might be cooked, but if its eyes are still staring at you, it gives you a guilty conscience.
Huh?
So yeah, so I've had paella and I've had horse meat, which is Look at me, I'm a fig. But yeah, I'm with you on that one, Darwin droning. I hate anything that looks back at me. So yes, but same as I say, I have eaten horse meat, but I didn't know at the time it was horse meat. They didn't tell me till after I'd eaten it that it was horse meat. Oh, and I tell you something else what I tried, and I think they're absolutely horrible. Olives. I cannot stand the things olives at all. I don't like cooking with olives. I don't like eating them. Full stop. That is one thing I do detest. I detest olives. And artichokes. That's another thing I don't like. Shark was great. Got a nice... Well, that's the thing. Same as I say. There's a lot of things out there that I'd like to try. Oh, no. You see, they eat a lot of olives in France. Obviously, it helps with the... I know it helps with the complexion and everything, but it's just... I just don't like them. I don't know why. Same as Darwin says, they're very salty. And I think that because I don't use salt and we don't have salt. I have had squid before, calamari. I have had calamari before, which is what Pix is referring to. Squid is calamari. So I have had calamari before. So yeah, but if I'd got like the things that I eat the most, olives would be at the top of the list. Now it's basically what, you know, some people like them, some people don't. So, you know, everybody's got different tastes. So we've just got the 6 watching. If we've got any more questions. Oh, foundation aerials in. So foundation, as the title suggests, it's a question and answer purely about baking or cookery. Have you got any question or a question? Oh, yes. Darwin says his favourite is trifle. But you see, as well,
Good morning. Good morning.
I like trifle. Can you remember the Swiss rolls? I find it better rather than using the sponges. It's best to use it with a Swiss roll. Slice a I'm doing picture trick. Slice a Swiss roll and put it all in the bottom of your bowl before you add the jelly, and it tastes a lot better. I thought it was drizzle. I think Darwin droning and Pixies got lemon drizzle on the brain. Right, I'm going to go cut it short now, guys, because Pixie says, yeah, that's how my mum makes it. Swiss roll and real custard, yeah, made from scratch. So Pixie's on about going live for an hour. So if everybody wants to head over to Pixie's channel, I won't go on with him. I shall just hang about in the yeah. See you, Marie. I'm just going to cut it now because Pixie's on about going live for an hour. So can you make a cake in the shape of a drone? I could do anything for Pixie's birthday. Well, I've got plenty of time to practice because it's not till end of the year. So whoever wants to go over onto Pixie's channel, I should just watch in the chat, being as this is the second time I've gone live today. I thank you all for your questions. I hope I've answered truthfully and honestly. So, and if anybody wants any more questions answering, just message me. Okie dokie then. See you later. Bye. I'll see you all in Pixie's chat. Bye.